Good afternoon. Well, it's not afternoon yet, it's morning. Good morning. This is Dr. Renee on the Ask Dr. Renee show. And if you're not familiar with our show, this show is here to motivate and inspire you to live the life you deserve. Because let's face it, tomorrow is not promised, and this is not a dress rehearsal. This is the one life we have, right? So we might as well do it up and do it right. So I'm so excited about the show. I forgot to play the intro, but it's okay. So one thing I want to tell you guys is that it's June and it's Black Music Month, in case you didn't know. So I'm really excited to have this guest because this is somebody, music history. And I'm from Detroit, and Motown means a lot, in case you don't know. And this is a Motown artist. So this is one thing that's to be excited about. Secondly, you guys, today is my anniversary. It was 7 years ago today that I no longer had a day job. And I'm, some people are like, oh my God, but you know what? It was a blessing. And I'm thankful, over and over thankful. So I'm really excited to have this awesome person with me, and we're going to just dive into this. So let me take that off. Well, good morning, good afternoon on the East Coast. Yes.
Yeah, it's afternoon here. Yes, it is.
So Greg Williams. Oh my God. So it's so funny. My friend yesterday says, how do you get these people? I said, Greg is my peeps. I was like, that is my buddy. And I told him write this book. So he wrote a book, and I'm so excited. And I was like, I told him he has to come and talk about the book. So Greg, let's start at the beginning. One, Greg is a Michigander like me, you guys, which is the whole Motown thing, obviously. But please tell me, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Exactly what I became, an entertainer and musician. I proclaimed at age 6 that this is what I was going to do, and I've been doing it ever since.
Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome.
Blessed guy over here.
Yeah, exactly. Because, not everyone gets to do what they want to do for a living.
Correct.
And so, and that's a big deal. And that's why I always tell people, you really should aim high. Try to do what it is that you want to do. Life is short. And I also tell people, God will figure it out, or you'll figure it out. You'll make money from doing exactly what it is you are supposed to be doing. So a lot of people, especially growing up in Grand Rapids, growing up in Detroit, Michigan, whatever, you're going to play what? And you're going to do what? Not everybody's Diana Ross. Not everybody's Berry Gordy. Not everybody's Stevie Wonder. All these people that came from Michigan, not everybody has that opportunity. So, just like with basketball, it's, not everyone's going to be in the NBA. So what did your parents say when you were like, well, this is what I want to do?
Well, believe it or not, first of all, my dad was a jazz musician anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, then he understood.
For the most part. But, he played R&B too, because he actually played with Al Green, who's also from Grand Rapids, and was supposed to take
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Al Green he wasn't born there. I think he was born in Memphis, but he was raised in Grand Rapids till he cut his first record, and then he got out after that.
Okay.
So, and my dad used to play with him, but had an opportunity to go with him at the time he left. But my dad chose to stay home and raise his children, which was smart on his part.
Yes, it was.
But anyway, with that said, my mom also sang in the church. Okay. And I am the product of a single parent because my dad was not in my household. He had a family over there, and my mom had us over here. And that's the way that was. So anyway, so it was talking to my mom about what I was going to do. And she didn't see it. She didn't see the vision. She, when I was 12, 13, 14 years old, okay. But as I got older, it's like, how are you going to eat? How are you going to take care of yourself? And so they were concerned with it. They were definitely concerned with it. But me and my defiance outruled everything and everyone and went for it. I said, I'm going for it no matter what. And fortunately, real quick too, unfortunately, when my mom did, you've got to do this or you've got to leave, my grandmother said, come on over here and you can do that too. And so I moved in with my grandmother for a couple of years, and that kind of thing. So it kind of worked.
Well, that works.
It sure did. It made the difference, all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter, though, is that it didn't matter because I was going to do music or die. I told my mom. So it was that, okay?
Okay, so you wanted to do this, but you lived in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So at the time, there was no one before you guys. Al Green.
Yeah, but still, you're right.
So what were your thoughts? How did you figure out, okay, because there was no internet either. So how did you say, okay, I'm going to do this? How am I going to do this?
Was there no internet? There was no black radio. In Grand Rapids, come on, honey. It was conformist lane. That's all that was there. You conform or you know. But no, the whole thing of it is this. One of the beautiful things of my life is that I was an avid reader. I would read everything I could get my hands on. And when I was maybe about 9 years old, somehow I gained access to Reader's Digest.
Oh,
You get to
wow.
that. So in Reader's Digest, I would read about the world. So that tore down walls in Grand Rapids for me. I knew there was life outside of Grand Rapids. So fortunately, that tied into my dreams as well. I just knew that if I get out of here, I can be somebody. And ultimately I did.
So what made, so I know you went to California. So what was the trip to well, did you obviously put the band together before you left, because you played with you guys did some major playing with some major players before you even made that trek. So take us through the journey.
Okay, Teenager Grand Rapids, there were local bands. I was in actually 6 bands before I put Switch together. I was in 6 different bands. I started out in a singing and stepping group, a la Temptations kind of thing. Then I picked my horn back up and we made it a self-contained back, a la Sly and the Family Stone kind of thing. So and I was kind of sought out as a young trumpet player, more so, although I sang and played piano too. I was this notable trumpet player back in the day. So I was sought out by a bunch of bands. And so I would join and learn what I could learn and be there. That wasn't my thought process at the time, but I wound up learning what I could learn and moved on and took the good parts with me and left the bad parts behind. Okay. So ultimately, I had an opportunity. A partner of mine wound up, who was in a band with me before in Grand Rapids, the TMGs, he wound up joining a band in Ohio, leaving. This band called the TNT Flashes wound up had an opportunity with Barry White. But a couple of the guys couldn't wait longer. Trumpet player being one of them, keyboard player being one of them, couldn't wait long enough. So my partner, who was a saxophone player, called me and asked me would I come play trumpet. I told him by this time I had a bond with Bobby DeBarge, among other musicians, but with Bobby. So I told the guy, if there's room for Bobby, I'll come. I wasn't going to leave Bobby. I just wasn't going to do it because various reasons. Anyway, so it worked out for Bobby and I to join these guys in Phoenix, Arizona, while we waited for Barry White to sign the deal, which took 6 months, but it did happen. So we signed with Barry White. And that band ultimately became White Heat. Yep. And then after White Heat broke up, me having all this experience with all these other bands, I decided it's time to put my own band together. And so I went through my roster of cats that I liked as people that I'd worked with or known as musicians that and my prerequisites were like mine. They had to think like me. They had to be dreamers that were determined to win. They had to be nice guys. I didn't care for any alcoholics or drug addicts or fools, even though we were young and, I couldn't have any of that. But more importantly, I wanted to look. I wanted guys that could sing various parts, everybody lead vocalists basically in their own right, and guys that played more than one instrument. And I got beyond what I put together, to be honest with you, ultimately, and that became Switch.
Wow. So how many people are in the original? Why do we have this horrible echo? I don't know what's going on. Okay. How many people are in the original group?
In the original Switch? Mm-hmm. 6.
Okay.
There were 6. And right now, actually there was 6 in the group, but there was 7 because those Switch albums, we didn't have a guitar player. So Michael McGlury became Switch's guitar player. He played on all of our records, even though he was signed as a writer-producer to Motown and he was Jermaine's right arm, he wound up being with us. Well, ironically, of the 6 guys, we know Bobby DeBarge passed. Tommy DeBarge is physically unable because he's on dialysis, among other things, to be a part. And Jody's kind of retired, but I have the other originals. I've got Eddie Fluellen, I've got Phillip Ingram, and I've got Michael McGlury, and we're back and we're doing our thing this day.
And you guys that don't know, Phillip Ingram is James Ingram's brother, right?
Baby brother.
Yep. And James Ingram, you don't know James Ingram is, I can't help you. So, just think Quincy Jones, Back on the Block, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
The Dude and all of
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
James's hits, the biggest hits were Just Once, Find
Yep.
100 Ways, Yamo Be There. Him and Patty Austin did a bunch of
Yep.
stuff. A lot of people don't know that James Ingram started playing keyboard with Ray Charles. So a lot of people don't know that.
Wow.
It was Ray Charles, one of, Ray played,
Yeah.
but James played. Yeah, among other things. But
Right.
anyway, yeah.
So I have to say, so I always tell everyone, so the way that I met Greg was, first of all, for those that don't know me, in my past life, I was Chico DeBarge's publicist.
Mhm.
And that was the first real celebrity that I ever worked with. And I still am so grateful. And actually, yesterday was Chico's birthday. So happy
Right.
birthday to Chico.
Right.
But Chico was the first celebrity that allowed me and my little amateur self to work with him. But he was the best first client. I'll never forget. He called me one day after he did an interview for the Monique late night show, and he called and thanked me. And I was like, is this what happens? Like, this is amazing, So, and then I also was the one that got Chico on the Soul Train Awards when they did the tribute to Motown. So yeah, Chico was amazing. And so that was my DeBarge connection. Well, then my very good friend, whom hopefully will be on the show soon, Dr. Margina Christian, was nice enough to say, Renee, let's go to see Switch and Shaka Khan in Indiana. I was like, oh, sure. So we go, and of course, it was an amazing show. It was outside. It was great. And Greg's like, come on back. So we go to the hotel, and we talked for hours. And it was like his DeBarge story and my DeBarge stories. And it was just so cool. And I go, Greg, you must write a book. Like, what you have is gold. Like, I mean, he was telling me all this stuff, and I was like, I had no idea. Like, who, what? Oh, what? So I said, you got to write this down. And so now the book is, please, you have a book to hold up? Of course you do.
Come prepared. Yeah. Come on.
The Switch, DeBarge, Motown, and Me. And the book came out last year, but of course you can buy it everywhere. We'll have links so that you can make sure you get a copy. But so that's how I met the wonderful Greg Williams. And he was like, oh, Renee, you're a friend of Margina's, you're a friend of mine. And when I would go to Cali, he's like, here, I tell him I'm here. He's like, oh, let's meet for lunch, dinner, whatever. Right. So yeah, so he always has looked out for me. So I so appreciate your friendship. You are amazing. That's He'll beautiful. Just text me out the blue too. I've been thinking about you. Are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. Why is this man thinking of me? But I so appreciate you. You are awesome.
That's a mutual appreciation and admiration. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, so Greg, like I said, millions of great stories. And then if you don't know, they did do an unsung of Switch, and Dr. Margina Christian is in that lovely unsung. She's in several unsungs though, you guys, which you'll learn when she does come on the show. But she did an amazing job as always, because I tell her she has interviewed everyone I can think of. Like, who have you not interviewed? Because as far as entertainment and Black entertainment, I was like, you've interviewed all the people that I'm just like, wow.
She's incredible too. She is incredible.
She has helped me tremendously. She's my Virgo sister. Our birthdays are like a week apart. But yeah, she is amazing. So I must say, I have to admit, I never told Greg. So, I grew up in Detroit, and my sister and I remember, is our song. Our favorite song is Love Me in a Special Way. But we looked at the years, and I mean, we were very young to be knowing these songs, but we knew them, knew every word.
Right. Okay.
So I knew They'll Never Be, but I thought it was El DeBarge.
Most people did. Shame on you, but most people did.
So I'll tell you, I think I learned of Switch and Bobby DeBarge maybe 15 years ago or so. And I was like, oh, what? There was another brother? What? And then it was like a whole world had been opened for me.
God, okay.
But thankfully, I knew all this before I actually met Mama DeBarge and Chico and stuff. So
gotcha.
I knew all this before then. But I did not have a clue and was like, wow. And even when I tell them Switch and they're like, who? And then I say the songs and they're like, that's not El DeBarge. I'm like, you didn't know? Look, I'm terrible. And then I tell you, when we had Chico here in Chicago doing an event with the Metro Board, I went to sound check and he was singing some song from, it was Switch or a DeBarge song. Chico doesn't sing in falsetto. I honestly thought somebody had come in.
No, he doesn't, but he can, but he doesn't.
I didn't know that until I walked in and was like, I called my sister and was like, Chico sounds like his brother. It's really creepy. I was like, oh my God. So, but yeah, so can you, I mean, may he rest in peace, Bobby DeBarge, but please tell people about your friend, because I know that he was an amazing person, a great big brother, because I know that he is instrumental in helping Elle and Chico to get put on as well. So please tell people about him.
There's so much I got to say about that. I can say about Bobby. Where do you want to go? What do you want to know?
So well, you can talk about, you know, how you guys, you formed the group, you became White Heat. So then how did White Heat become Switch? And
No,
then
White Heat. Okay, White Heat and Switch are two separate
two different things.
entities.
Yes. So how did you leave from White Heat and then you put together Switch? And how did Switch end up? Was Switch always the name?
No. Okay, and I'll break that much down. First of all, I met Bobby when I was like 14 years
Exactly.
old. I'm a year or so older than him. So, and we weren't in this choir because me and him both skipped school. But we used to, I attended Ottawa and Ottawa Hills High School. And there was a choir, and we used to be around the choir. We used to come because all our friends were in that choir, and he and I, being the talented, curious cats that we are, we used to come to the school and hang out. You know, when the choir did this thing, and then we stick around thereafter and steal and use the piano. So anyway, he and I were friends through all of that. And you know, I was always working. I've been in bands since I was 13. So as once I met Bobby and evolved, you know, then I would bring him in to play with certain people I played with and things like that. Okay, and as I said earlier, when my friend called me to ask me about joining White Heat, I brought Bobby with me. You know, I made sure that there was a place for Bobby and brought him with me. Okay, White Heat lasted for roughly 1973 through 1976. You know,
The
very
year
much.
I was born.
76? Good for you. Okay. Okay, and Barry kind of, you know, Barry dropped the group in 76, you know, from RCA Records. And shortly thereafter, the group dispersed. Everybody, we were stationed in Akron, Ohio. Every member of the band, and there was like 13 of us, including my road crew. Everybody left Akron but me. I stayed. I tried to do the Akron circuit for a while, and you know, I mean, but I was looking for bigger and better things. I done had a record out on RCA Records with Barry White, and I done worked with Larry Graham and Mandrill and all these other big names during the time. So I'm thinking I decided it's time to put my group together while I'm in Akron that year. I handpicked my guys, and I got lucky because there was a guy that we'd met in the White Heat days in Hollywood that wanted to put some money into me to produce an act of his. And I told him, I'm starting my own band. Can you help me put the money over here? So he did, gave me $8,000. And I called all my guys and we did a demo. Jody Sims and I, at that point, knew we needed to go back to Hollywood. So we decided to go back to Hollywood and move forward. You know, we got back to Hollywood. Jody and I wound up meeting Jermaine Jackson, getting a deal. Then we called the rest of the guys, and the rest of the guys joined us. Bobby was actually the last one to join the band. You know, he was stuck in Grand Rapids, and life was kind of crazy. And it was kind of, okay, man, come on, let's go. Let's do this like we used to. And there it was. So, but with that, the name of the group when we left, Jody and I, okay, let me digress for a second. Jody and I, to get to California, we didn't have no money. That budget, that $8,000 was gone.
Gone.
Well, Jody was a playboy. He had 2 girlfriends that bought he and I plane tickets to get to California. One-way tickets, mind you, us dreamers. So anyway, ironically, they bought us first-class tickets unknowingly. Because one didn't know the other one was buying a ticket, and both of them bought. I guess they were really in love with Jody because they bought first-class tickets. So me and Jody sitting up in first class, first time ever, drinking the free liquor and eating the filet mignon, and we were so outdone with that. When it finally came time for us to come up with a name, after we got with Motown, we had came up with a name of First Class from our first class flight. Okay, when it came time to sign with Motown, Motown fell in love with the group. We did a showcase. They fell in love with the group, but they let us know that there was a group in New Jersey by the name of First Class. We had to come up with a name for the group. Anyway, the concept of the group, as I told you, was everybody played more than one instrument. Everybody was a lead vocalist. So when we did a showcase for Motown before getting signed, we did 8 songs. And one song, Phillip might be on the lead, and Bobby would be on the drums, and I would be on the trumpet. Another song, Bobby would be on the lead, I'd be on the keyboards, and Phillip would be on the percussion. You know, and I just mentioned these 3, not to mention Jody was jumping from drums to percussion. Eddie was trombone, keyboard, vocals. Tommy, bass, keyboard, vocals. So we kept doing these different things every time we switched up. And at the end of the show, while everybody that was at the showcase paying us compliments, Susanna Pass makes the statement, I've never seen so much switching in my life. That's the name, Switch. We were looking for a name, and there it was. Light bulb came on. I said, hey, guys. And everybody agreed. So that's where the name came from. And I know you asked me about Bobby, but I had to take you on that journey.
No, that's fine.
I had to take you on that journey. But, you know, fortunately, even in the White Heat days and the early Switch days and stuff, Bobby and I used to do a lot of writing together, you know. And, you know, well, great God, let me just say that. There's a lot that I can say about Bobby.
Yeah. Now, how did Tommy end up coming too?
Tommy was my first choice.
Okay.
He's the first person I picked for the band, period.
Okay.
You know, because even back in Grand Rapids, when we were coming up, you know, Tommy couldn't leave the house. His mom would only let him go with me. She wouldn't let him go and just hang out with other folks. Other folks was, you know, she knew them to be wild and knew I had some kind of sense. So Tommy became my little brother along with Bobby becoming my younger brother, you know. And,
gotcha.
You know, so when I put the group together, when it was time for me to handpick guys for my group, Tommy was my first choice. Besides him being so talented and awesome, I knew that I could kind of lead him into some kind of better place than where he was. And, you know, he needed out of Grand Rapids as well. So, you know, he was my first choice.
And so then the 2 of them got Elle and the others, you know, to come too, Bunny and James and
our first year into it. In fact, when we were, They'll Never Be It just come out, and we were doing a promotional tour around the country. And when we got to Detroit, of course, Elle, Marty, Randy, and James came up to the hotel in Detroit, and they were introduced to Jermaine then. And they sang and did a little something, and that way, you know, Motown got interested and wanted to do something with them. Jermaine and Hazel were building their company, and they wanted to include them. So that's how that happened.
So that's Hazel Gordy, as in Barry Gordy's daughter.
Absolutely. Jermaine's wife. Absolutely.
Yep. And then Suzanne DePass, as in the lady that discovered the Jackson 5, in case you didn't see the Jackson movie.
Okay.
Yes. She played, Holly Robinson Peete played her character.
Right.
Yes.
Although there's a backstory to that too, but I'll leave it to the movie.
Look, leave that to when they get on the show.
Absolutely. That's their story to tell now.
Right. Exactly. So please tell us, I mean, what amazed, like what, I know putting the book together, one, to get it all down to book size, because I'm sure it could have been novels.
Oh, good Lord. You know something? I started doing the book. Before I met you, I actually started making my notes and putting it together. You know, and your words did encourage me to move forward and keep this thing going. But when it finally came time, I had been writing on this book for so long. When it finally came time, I didn't know where. I knew I had to cut this darn book off. My book, believe it or not, is 556 pages. And that's where I cut it off at, leaving me another 189 pages for the second book.
Okay.
So I'm already into the second book with probably about 200 and something pages now, you know. But there was just so much to tell. I didn't know where to cut it off at. I just, well, and I won't even say where I cut it off at because I want people to buy the book.
No, yeah, please
buy the book. You'll find out where I cut it off at. But there's more to tell. There's a whole lot. But there was so much. We had such an awesome, you know, run those years at Motown. We really did. The good, bad, and the ugly is in that book, though. I'll tell you that now.
How many years was it?
What, 2 years for what?
For Switch at Motown.
Oh, we did 5 years at Motown.
Okay.
We did 5 records at Motown. What do we do? Yeah, we did 5 years at Motown. We signed in 76? I think we did. We signed in 76 and left in 83. That looked like 6 years to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So. Okay. So how did you, first, I don't understand how people can write songs. I wish I could. I hear such beautiful songs. I'm like, that is such a nice, I can't. So what is your process? Like, do you have a process and this is how you write these beautiful songs, or?
You know what? That's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? It really don't matter. You know, we pull songs out of the air. Sometimes it can be a melody, you know, that one is hearing. Sometimes somebody can be hearing the bass part. Sometimes somebody can tell a lie in the room and you know it's a lie and it's so astounding you want to write a song about it. It's just, it's just
So there's
whatever
rumored,
happens.
it's rumored that They'll Never Be is about one of the Jackson women.
No, and actually, no, it's I Call Your Name.
That's I Call Your Name. That's it. Yes.
And that's a dead rumor. Bobby and I wrote I Call Your Name, first and foremost.
Okay.
Okay, and secondly, uh, there's another song that Bobby and I wrote called You and I. On the intro of You and I, Bobby talks about LaToya in referring to her single that had recently come out, Nighttime Lover. And so he talks about their relationship. They were in a relationship for a good little while, the two of them. You know,
Okay.
so he talks about that. So people have taken the intro of You and I, which was about a LaToya, and placed it on the song I'll Call Your Name, which had nothing in the world to do with LaToya whatsoever. So, you know, that's where the confusion is.
I see. I see.
Mhm.
Crazy, crazy. And what families to be together? Jacksons and DeBarges. That is so funny to me.
Okay. Okay, but you see, and you know the funny thing about it too, Bobby and I lived in an apartment. When we moved to Hollywood, we all moved into a house, and then Jody was married, so he broke off and moved into his place with his wife. And he had a girlfriend and a dog, so him and the girlfriend and the dog moved into a place. I moved out into an apartment. Bobby kind of got tired of living with Phillip and Eddie and MC and all the band house, so he moved into my apartment with me. So we lived in an apartment. He was going and him and LaToya started going together. So often up in that apartment would be the three of us, me and Bobby at the piano, LaToya there, whatever, whatever. Anyway, and after about a year or so, they kind of split up, you know, which was a blow to him. But even in the course of their relationship, he would go over to the house. When he's over to the house, he'd call home, the rest of the family on the phone. And Janet and James connected through family phone calls. And they kept that relationship going by
Oh
phone
yeah,
for a long time until they finally got together and then ultimately married.
hilarious, hilarious. Uh, the old days.
Okay, come on.
Look, the phone was online, right? That was the version of online.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Come on.
That is too funny. So, what was it like? Because I know when I was in entertainment and I was in my artist, the first time I heard one of Lady T's songs on the radio, you'd have thought I was on the radio. And actually, just the other day, literally like 2, 3 days ago, my sister DM'd me on Instagram and said, listen, because she knows I watch videos in silence because I'm just lame. So she said, listen. And I clicked, and it was an ad for my favorite sports bra that I love. I wear them every day. I love them. She Fit sports bras. And the ad was Lady T's. Lady T was performing, was singing
Oh,
the song.
really?
I was screaming in here. Oh my God. You'd have thought it was the first time I heard the girl again. So she got a placement. It was some song I've never heard, but she got a placement on this ad. And it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, it's like everywhere. It's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
I of course text her and told her Alicia sent this to me. So what did it feel like for you the first time you guys, and I know you know where you were the first time you heard one of your songs on the radio?
Group of humble guys. Again, we were just innocent and all we wanted to do was play music. Fame and fortune were oblivious to us. It just was because that wasn't where our heads and hearts were. We just wanted to play. We're driving home from a meeting at Motown, me and Tommy and Bobby in my car, ironically, yeah, in my car, and Phillip. And all of a sudden, They'll Never Be comes on the radio. Needless to say, we almost got in a wreck. I would dare try to tell you it wasn't my fault because I was driving. I'll tell you it was the rest of their fault, beating on everything and yelling and. But truth of the matter is, all of us were overwhelmed by it. We had to pull over, roll the window down, get out the car, dancing on some strange street. It was the most amazing thing in the world to finally hear. We had cut the album basically, in They'll Never Be, we cut maybe in 90, even though it was the very last song on the album. It wasn't even supposed to make the album. It was the very last song. But anyway, we cut the album and it didn't come out for a year. So, we've gotten used to not hearing it, and all of a sudden, here's a surprise. And then what's even greater than that is as the days moved on after hearing it on the radio, all of a sudden we begin to see our faces on billboards up and around Los Angeles area, on the sides of buses, on the tops of taxi cabs. Here's our faces, and if you remember the album cover, it was the one with all of us in a row. It was all of us in a row. And it was the most amazing thing. Now that was like kind of overwhelming.
Now, what did your mom say?
Oh, mom. You know what? My mom was very proud. She was very proud. And it was like unbelievable what was happening, to me. But I'll tell you what impacted me the most is when my grandfather, who I believe was probably about 87, 88 years old, he was a part of my household. I told you my mom was a single mom. Well, my grandfather throughout many of those years was there with us. And he called me. I actually wrote about this in the book because it still affects me. But he called me, because of course, I wanted his input and his approval. You know how you are with your folks.
Yep.
And he would tell me to get a job, and just like everybody else, they didn't know where I was going, so they didn't know what to. Anyway, my grandfather calls me. We had done the Mike Douglas show. If you Mike Douglas is equivalent to Ellen.
Right.
Now, okay, or something like that. We performed on the Mike Douglas show, and all of a sudden I'm at home one evening and I get a call from my grandfather. And Greg, it's granddad. And first of all, I'm shocked because he never calls. And he asked me how I'm doing and did all the greeting. He said, I called you to tell you that I am so proud of you. He said, you doing things big. You doing them now where I can see them. And he said, I am so proud of you. He said, I know me and everybody told you to get a job and don't do this. And he said, you stuck to your guns and you're showing the world who you are. And I am just so proud of you. I must have cried a good hour after I got off that phone call. I'm telling you, I was so touched and so affected by the fact that was the ultimate approval for me.
Right.
It wasn't these audiences. It wasn't, the record company. It wasn't the royalties. It wasn't all. It was that. That's why I do what I do, because I want to lead and confirm that I can to those that matter to me. And nobody made me more proud than my own family. Nobody ever in life. I've never met a better source of people, kind of people. So it was my grandfather that got me more so than even my mom.
Wow. Well, I understand. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. Now, I can't imagine seeing yourselves. That is just crazy. So what was the first time you guys went on tour and people knew who you were and stuff? What was that like?
Oh, God. Now, that was crazy. We didn't go on tour for 3 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, we had 3 albums. In fact, 4 albums we had put out. We didn't go out until Love Over and Over came out, which was in 1981. We'd already been with the record company. We had these 3 gold albums, and I got to tell you, we rehearsed and put our show together, and we had a half-hour show. And our first night, we stayed on stage too long, and they cut the lights on us. The second night and the next thing, now we're on tour with BarKays, Cameo, and a whole bunch of others became part of it as it went on. I'm referring to Stacy Lattisaw, Gap Band, Confumption Slave, Kool and the Gang, Pointer Sisters, so many others. Anyway, second night, we're in the city close to that, and our road crew, didn't get the equipment there on time. So we had to play BarKays equipment, which was not cool. We stayed on stage too long, they cut the lights on us. Third night, I forgot which one of the members got sick, fell off the stage. One of the Switch members.
Oh, Lord.
We stayed on stage too long, they cut the lights on us. So That week, we were the joke of the tour because there was about 4 or 5 acts on the tour, and we were the joke of the tour. And who was unmerciful and unkind about making us a joke was Larry Blackman and Cameo, who we later changed the name to the Cameos because they were just horrible. You can bleep that if you need to, but that's what we did. That's what we did. So anyway, after that week, I said, fellas, we ain't going out like this. We wound up going to Memphis because BarKays were the headliner, and they were just kind to us. They embraced us. They mentored us through that early first tour once they found out that this was our first outing. So anyway, we were out, Texas, Houston, Texas, but we had 4 days off. So they suggested, come on to Memphis, we'll get you in a rehearsal studio. And, so we did. I told the guys, we got to go tighten this up. We went and tightened it up. We took songs out. We moved the show. We cut the show down. We made sure that everybody was in sync. We didn't waste the things that were lulls in the show that we remembered. We cut them out. And next weekend we play. I think we started in Charleston, West Virginia. And after the first song, we didn't get to perform no more again. They didn't cut the lights on. The girls tore down, ran over the security guard and tore down the stage. The females in the audience. And after that, that was kind of a regular occurrence where we got mobbed. We got mobbed in record stores, but more so on stage, it was just amazing. We looking around at each other, and here come this barrage of girls like a darn avalanche. And we looking at each other in bewilderment, and I yell, them, run! We got off safely. But from that point on, we had to hire security. It was amazing. It was really amazing.
That is crazy. That is crazy. The BarKays, isn't that the group with Jazzy Faye's father?
That's right. James Alexander. Absolutely right. Larry Dodson. Yeah.
Yeah. So if those that know hip hop and R&B and Atlanta sound, Jazzy Faye. That's who we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. But and actually the BarKays were there the night I met you. It was Shaka, the BarKays, you, and it was one other. It was
Mary Jane Girls.
Yes, and what's his name? RJ Reynolds. I think he was there too. I think LJ Reynolds. No.
LJ wasn't on that.
He wasn't on that one.
No, not that day.
Okay.
No, let's see. Yeah, Mary Jane Girls, Shaka Khan, BarKays, a couple members of the Funkadelic and Switch. It was just about
okay.
It. Yeah.
So Bam is asking, why did it take you guys so long to tour? 3 years?
That's a long story, honey. But strangely enough, we were managed by Jermaine and Hazel.
Right.
Which meant we were being managed by Berry Gordy. Which meant we were being managed by Motown. And Motown wanted to keep us as subdued and unaware as possible. So every time I brought up going, because they wanted to keep control. Because if we got too big, then we would make certain demands and things like that. So with that in mind, every time I'd bring up going on the road, they didn't want us to go. They didn't want us to become aware. They didn't want us to become, something different. Since they had the control, it was about them and their ideas and how they saw it going. It was under the guise of, I was told that we'd like to keep you guys off the road for a while so that you can get to a point where you can make their offering $5,000 a night. Maybe you can make $25,000 a night if you just kind of let them wait, like they did the Jackson 5. So that's what we were told. But what I just told you was the real story about it. But finally, after Love Over and Over came out, I insisted we got to go to work. We got to go out. But they kept offering us, giving us more money. Little did I know they were giving us our own money. We were earning it. Okay? So anyway, but the situation is that it was under the guise that, okay, you'll earn more money if you wait. But that's not really what it was. Read the book. It's in there.
We will. That's crazy. So what happened when you guys left Motown? Did you guys go to a new label? Or you guys were done?
Some of us. No. Some of us.
Okay.
Because keep it in mind, at the end of the tour, Bobby went solo. Okay? We were still on Motown, but Bobby went solo. And so the other 5 of us were there at the label. And, you know, it was close to the end, and the thing was drawing to a close anyway, and Motown wasn't treating us fairly. So it was time to go. With that in mind, Phillip got an offer to go over to Quest Records, which is Quincy Jones's label, with his brother James. Of course, Tommy followed Bobby. So that left me, Jody, and Eddie. I was able to go and get us a deal. It was between Solar Records with Dick Griffey, with Shalimar and Dynasty and the Whispers and all of those guys, or Total Experience, which had Gap Band, Yarborough, and People Goody and all that. Well, Total Experience made me the better deal. So that's where we wound up going. We did 1 record on Total Experience. And at the end of that, I was so burnt out by it all. And the fact that it wasn't the same switch without Bobby, Tommy, and Phillip. You know, I was done. So I got away from that and went into management and worked with Right On Magazine and did a whole bunch of other stuff over another 10, 15 years till I put the group back together.
Awesome. That is, I mean, like I said, to live your dream is it's a blessed thing, and it's not something that everyone gets a chance to do. And if this is what you want to do, it is a very exciting thing to do. Like I didn't go on stage, but I was close enough to the stage with my clients that I was like this, because what you don't know is I'm a triple threat. I danced, I sang, and I acted.
There we go. See?
I have awards in all of them.
I know that, but I don't doubt it. God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I always tell everyone that one day I'm going to do, it might be a one-night thing, but I'm going to do something on Broadway just one day, just once.
Good for you.
Yeah, I just want to
do it. You still holding
it.
steady on that one?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. And then
you will.
I'm also going to one day record a song in the studio. Nobody might hear the song but me, but I just want to do that one day.
Tell you what,
and the funny thing, I've been in so many studios. I should have done it by now, but I haven't.
And still haven't done it?
No.
Well, I've got a studio here in the house. When you come to Atlanta, you come on. Let's do something.
Yes, because
for real.
No, seriously, I will. So yeah, that's something else that I say I want to do. But like I said, just because we had to get security for Lady T, and she was like 16.
Okay.
Okay. So I know, I understand. I know what you're talking about. And then I worked with Troop, and Steve has told me stories about him shutting down malls and stuff. Him and the guys shutting down malls because of the girls too. So I just. Now, my mother, she didn't allow us to go to the mall when these things were happening. I will tell you, the one time we did go to the mall, we were at the hairdresser, and I think I was driving age, so it was just me and my sister at the hairdresser. And I heard on the radio that Heavy D was going to be at the mall. And I told my sister, I go, we're not going home. We're going to go to the mall and see Heavy D. And she's like, and she's younger. She's like, okay. So we did, and we met Heavy D, and I have his autograph, and and we told him we were West Indian. He's like, oh, Irie, because he's Jamaican, and so we had our moment, because we always loved Heavy D, and my mom liked him too. So when we got home and told her what we did, she's like, okay, nothing happened. That's good. It was a long line. It wasn't ridiculous though. It wasn't like we were gonna get crushed or something. So it wasn't a bad situation. Yeah. Gotcha. But we had a good time. That was fun. But I mean, to see yourself, like I said, billboards and stuff, that is just insane. And not to, like I said, from Grand Rapids. If you all know anything about Grand Rapids, Michigan, Grand Rapids is not the capital of Michigan, one. Lansing actually is the capital of Michigan, but it's not Detroit. And I mean, everyone, you say Michigan, they only know Detroit. And they're like, and so everyone lives in wherever you're from in Michigan, you have to say where you are from in relation to Detroit. So and Grand Rapids is hours from Detroit. So that's what's like. Right. I said that is just crazy and insane. Actually, Grand Rapids isn't far from Chicago.
Yeah, it's like 186 miles or 190 miles either way.
Yeah, it's not far at all from Chicago.
Yeah, in the middle of them.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just insane. I mean, honestly, do you pinch yourself? I mean, can you imagine? Do you think about all the people that you've met and that you've known? And, what I mean? Because even me, I still am like, really? Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Can I share something with you real quick?
Yes, yes.
Okay. This is awkward, but I just got
to. Fine.
At least I think I can share this with you. I'm not sure. Okay, look behind me. I need to
Oh, I
get out
see
of
it.
the
I
picture.
see it.
I don't know how
No,
to get
no.
out of the picture.
Go this way. No, go up now. Yep, we can see it.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's a lot. Oh, yeah, that's lovely.
Okay. This is my switch room in my house. And anytime I get a little stressed, or I don't get depressed because that don't work. That works
Right,
on
it
you,
sure
not for
doesn't.
you. But anytime things get a little difficult, I come up in here and I just stand and I look around and I look at where I've been and what I've done. And it helps me come out of any kind of funk that I'm ever in.
And I mean,
Because
to this
I did
day,
this.
anybody's Quiet Storm is playing the I'll Call Your Name, but They'll Never Be or something from Switch, something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and you know something? That's another thing too. I mean, my daughter, who you met, she's in the other room now. Her and well, she doesn't have any children. She's only 21.
Yeah.
But you know, her and any children she have and any offspring or whatever will be able to find me in, well, they don't have record stores anymore, but online,
Yep.
in libraries, you know, and you'll hear my music play and you'll read my book and you'll know that I've been here.
Yeah. I
And
went
I've
to the
also,
Motown Museum for the first time, maybe it was like 4 years ago.
uh-huh,
And coincidentally, I was there with my friend Donita Hathaway, who
okay,
was she was working with India Arie on tour with Stevie Wonder. So that's why she was in Detroit. It was Thanksgiving time. She's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Let's go," because I had never gone in there.
gotcha.
And this was like this was recent, and so we went in there and it was amazing. They play your stuff, of course, because they give you the whole history of and they have huge plans of making it a really 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 big museum.
They should, they
And
have
I
enough,
just pray that they get the
enough.
funding to do it, because there is enough history, there's enough archives, and they have all of this stuff. And then my first time seeing Diana Ross in concert, the night was sponsored by the museum. And my
Gotcha.
friend was a friend of the family. He does the things at the venue I was at, and so it was close to my birthday, and so he had me sitting so close. I couldn't believe how close I was to Diana Ross.
Gotcha.
I said, I have done it now. That's the one person I was like, I've never been to a Diana Ross concert. I got to go. And so I got
Oh
to finally
God.
go. And to go
And
in
that's an
Detroit,
experience. You do have to go because that's
yeah,
an experience within itself. But go on.
every dress matches, every fan, every show. I mean, oh my God, just
Absolutely.
crazy, crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it was just amazing. But you guys put on a great show. I can't wait to see you guys again. Hopefully after this COVID, we can, because I told people, please don't ask me nothing about a concert this summer. I'm not doing large venues.
Right.
Maybe the fall, maybe the winter, but I'm not going to anybody's large venues right now. I really am enjoying the home concerts. I'll tell you, I saw BBD. I've seen Music, Soul Child, Raheem Devon, Case, Carl Thomas. So I've been seeing some really good R&B concerts.
What, these online performances or?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And they've been performing in small places where there's no audience. It's just us online. And, it's different, but hey,
That's
this works
ironic you
for
say
now.
that too, because I have a meeting after this one where I'm talking with a company. They want to do Switch. They want to do a pay-per-view with Switch. So we
Oh,
should
that'd
be
be great.
closing. I should be closing that out pretty quickly. Not to mention the fact that, which I already told you and shared a little snippet, but we're going to do the online concert with all the other
Yeah.
online outlets as well.
That'll be awesome. I can't wait. And we'll definitely share it with my audience to let them know so that they can watch as well. Because when I was saying to my sister, because they have the Versus thing on Instagram with Timbaland and Swiss Beats, and I was like, there are no bands anymore. I said the only band is Mint Condition, and then you guys,
Right.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. There's just not a lot of bands. Like Mint
No, they're
Condition's the
not.
closest to my age, and that's it.
Yeah, it kind of broke after Mint Condition. I mean, who? There haven't really been any. At least on the African American side, on the
Right,
black side, on the R&B side,
right,
white rock acts continue to flourish.
right. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. I really don't know. And it's disheartening, because our musical culture, although it continues to evolve and new things come up, but it gets weaker. There's more
But
stuff.
you know what? I think it has to do with them taking music out of the schools too. Because think
Absolutely.
about,
Come
where did
on.
you learn to play?
Yep. Not to mention they took it out of the schools, and not to mention the fact too, what even made it worse is that R&B music was reduced to a beatbox at a period, and that took a whole decade of musicians out of whack. You know, I mean, and rap is one thing, and I applaud rap because a lot of people didn't think it would be around.
You're
And look
right.
at it, it's a genre that has lasted forever.
It's a culture.
But the whole thing of it is the music, the substance behind it, is a lot weaker than it was when there was fellowship with musicians. That's when magic happened. When you got 3, 4, 5, 6 musicians together and they fed off of each other. That's when magic happened. Now it's a
Yeah.
record. So anyway.
Yeah, it's so strange. And I don't know if the music industry, because they say things come full circle.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll come back around and it'll, change. I don't know. It would be a great thing because some
I'll
things
be
do.
honest with you. I know for a fact it's going to come back around. It's only a question of when. The reason I know it's going to come back because music feeds the spirit.
Hmm.
You know, it does. In fact, I can even go with the phrase, "Without music, life would be a mistake." It's crazy, but it's kind of real. It's just like a flower can't grow without water. Well, music feeds the spirit, from my personal knowledge and philosophy, and it gets to a point where you got to have different food. You got to be fed something different.
Right.
So it'll go back to from a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to a 4-course meal. And that means bands will come back and they will live. I do really believe in that. Now, how it'll get there, I don't know. Because still, they haven't put music back in the schools. They haven't put the arts back in the schools. So hopefully there's, that changes just like, the world is evolving now and changing. So we'll see. But
Yeah,
I think it'll come back.
it's important. I mean, we took piano lessons privately. I didn't learn them in school. What I did take in the school was I played the oboe. I am not an oboe player. I am horrible, actually. But that was the instrument I had chosen. My sister played several. She did the flute, she did the violin, she did some big brass instrument too. I can't remember. But yeah, I did the oboe and like I said,
That's
whatever.
cool.
But the piano is what I played. I remember my last piano competition was the day before prom. So I left the competition and went and got my fake nails put on for prom the next day. So,
That's
but yeah,
cool.
but now could I play a piano today? Not really. It's really sad. It's really
Uh,
sad. Because I've tried. My parents, the piano's still at the house. And I'll
uh-huh.
go and I'm just like,
Well, you might not be able to play it one day, but if you try 2 days, you probably come back. Trust me on that one.
okay. Because I mean, the bike I do agree with. You can always ride a bike, but that piano, I'm just like, ooh, God, this is really rusty. So,
Yeah,
so
but it comes. It comes
yeah,
back. Trust me.
I'll try. I'll have to try. I have to try. But so your daughter, does she have any musical capabilities?
Oh, she's a songwriter. I mean, she's not pursuing anything, but she writes
Okay,
songs. She paints. She writes songs. She writes poetry. Yeah, she's
creative.
very creative. Yeah, very creative.
That's
She's
awesome.
not pursuing a career in that area, but
Well, you look. Some of the songwriters weren't pursuing a career, and then all of a sudden, the checks came, and they said, "Well,
okay, right. And it's never too late either. Just like I'm
no,
telling you about getting back on the piano, should you? It's never too late.
right."
As long as you got breath in your body, anything's possible.
Exactly. Somebody asked in a group the other day, do you think there's an age when you should no longer try to be an entrepreneur? I said that would be when you're dead.
Thank you. That's right. Yeah, I'd say after the second shovel of dirt, yeah, it's kind of a done deal.
Yeah,
But not
but
until then.
not until. Um, what are your thoughts on the Grammys renaming Best Urban Contemporary to Best Progressive R&B Album? That, of course, would be my musical genius friend Bam.
I think it's insulting. I really do personally. I think it's insulting. I mean, a genre is something that evolves. It's not something that you can just change the name and make it new.
Right.
It's an evolution. It's a course of a journey. It's in the course of a journey. No, but they've tried it for years and years and years with different things. And a rose by any other name is still a rose.
Right. Now, do you have any Grammys?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Wasn't that fortunate yet.
No,
Yet.
it's
Yet I
not.
said,
Look,
dear lady.
I always say it's not necessary. What is it?
Yeah,
Patti LaBelle, who finally won. It took a long time before she ever got one, and she was like, but she was already Patti LaBelle. I mean, you guys are switched.
understood. Yeah, and I ain't
And
mad.
you always have to look at who is voting for these things too. It's like not necessarily is it enough of your peers. It's
And a
so
lot of stuff is political, and a lot of
exactly.
I'll tell you again, I'll revert back to the award that meant the most, my grandfather and that phone call.
Yep.
And everything else pales by comparison, no matter
Yep.
what it is. Trust me.
Yep. So please speak to somebody who has a dream like yours to be a musician in 2020. What do you say to them? And let them be in Grand Rapids or some other, smaller town.
From my own personal experience, I found out the number one thing you got to do is believe in yourself above and beyond anything else. Believe that you can first and foremost, then pursue. Learn everything that you can because education is crucial. And I'm not just referring to book knowledge or academic education. I'm referring to education because it gives you knowledge to help you enhance what you're trying to do. It gives you options as well because you have alternative ways of looking at things. So beyond believing in yourself, I dare say if you're really going to try to get serious about a career in music, try to find someone who believes in you like you do, but is looking for the other side of it versus somebody that's not trying to be a musician, but they're trying to be a business person. So they will give you eyes in the back of your head. So
Mhm.
they will be that person that's looking out for you like you're looking out for you, except while you sit there and play and tightening up that craft, they're over here learning business, tightening up that craft. And that way it works. That way it'll work for And above all else, never let anything or anybody discourage you because they will try for various reasons. People
Mhm.
will try, but adios, y'all,
Yeah.
with that mess. Because
Yeah.
I've had people tell me what I was and what I wasn't going to do. And to those that said that I was, thank you. I hope you really see it. Those that said that I wasn't, thank you. See you later. And most of those that doubted me have had the moment to come back and apologize. And I don't need their apology. I didn't want their apology because I wasn't doing it for them
For
in the
that.
first place. I was doing it for this guy. And I never had to apologize to this guy for that, about not pursuing. So believe in yourself. Go for it. You can make it. And understand this too. No is not the worst word you'll hear.
Next opportunity.
Absolutely. Because everybody's got an opinion and everybody's not going to like what you do. But I did learn this the hard way too. As some of the people that even I thought was horrible, there's an audience for everybody. Somebody will listen to you and somebody will buy you if you speak loud enough. So don't ever let anybody discourage you and tell you. I never do that anyway. I won't do that. Somebody will play something for me, and in my head, I'm thinking this is wrong. But I will never tell them that, you know, I will tell them, I won't lie to them either. I'll tell them maybe you can do this to make this stronger versus tell you can't. Because who the heck am I to tell you can't? So that's it. Just, hang in there, believe in yourself, and go for it.
Yeah, you have to. I always tell people you have to make sure you quiet the noise. So all those
Absolutely.
naysayers are a whole lot of noise that can be
Absolutely.
too loud and drown out your thoughts. You
Absolutely.
you have to do what you can to drown that out so that you can keep going and and just keep going and keep going. You have to want it. If you don't want it, it'll be really quickly figured out. That's not really what you wanted to do because it's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not.
And
But
actually
no,
anything worth having is difficult.
exactly. That's what I was getting ready to say. And the real truth of the matter on all of that is this. If you believe in God, then that's the first voice that's the most important. And second to that voice, the man or the woman in the mirror.
Yep.
Other than that, everybody else, and trust me, everybody else will fall in line. Those that are important enough to your
Right.
will fall in line. and those that are unimportant will fall to the wayside. Keep going.
Definitely. So please tell people how they can find you, and I will make sure I put a link so that they can get the book. But tell them how they can find you. And actually, you know what I forgot to ask you? Is somebody gonna make a movie from the book?
It's in dialogue now for a Netflix movie. It is in dialogue. Something to pray about and hold our breath for. Absolutely. But actually, it's two. I'm talking with two
Right.
people.
Okay.
One wants to do a play.
I mean, look at the Temptations.
Okay. So he wants to run with a play, and two other people want to do a movie. So we'll see what happens with that.
And the
Okay.
Temptations had
And
all of it. They had. Remember, the Temptations was a movie on NBC, and now it's the play. So hey,
that's true, and it's kind of a classic movie too.
it is.
So yeah, well, I'll tell you, we can be found on Switch. Can be found on www.switchentertainmentworld.com. Okay, all of us individually and collectively have pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all of that too, under different names.
Right.
But if you check on Facebook, Switch Entertainment LLC, all the information will be right there too as well. Okay, the book, Switch, DeBarge, Motown, and Me, it was published a year ago. I am currently working on the audio book, but the paperback and hard copies can be bought on Amazon, Border Books, Barnes and Noble, and probably any other internet outlet by now, because
Mm-hmm.
it's selling all over the place, and I don't know where the checks are coming from. I just know that they're coming, thank God.
Amen.
So, and with that, I did share with you too, Renee, this Switch Online thing that we're coming up. We're going to do a few songs. We're going to do a Q&A. This may be happening next weekend, not this coming weekend, the 23rd, but like the first weekend in July or something. I don't know, but close. It's coming. So kind of keep your eye out. And I'll pass information on to you, Renee.
Yeah, and I'll
but
share.
Also, me and all the guys are posting it on Facebook and our websites as well. So kind of keep a lookout, because we want everybody to come and join us and see who we are and what we're doing today.
And I forgot. I don't know. I forgot this. I shouldn't forget because we're in this world today. What racism did you all face because of the right? Because of what we're in? I have to ask one thing about that, because we are going through this, and you're in Atlanta and I'm in Chicago, and I know there had to be one crazy incident that you were just like, really?
I take my hat off so you can really see the color of my skin, not
right.
You can rip my hat on.
Exactly.
This has caused me more difficulty and hardships than a lot over the years. And pretty much at every turn, there's been certain racisms, that are racial issues that I've had to deal with. I think one of the worst for me was probably about 10 years ago. I'm already a celebrity. I'm also already the CEO of Switch Entertainment. I'm already a magazine editor of sorts and things like that. And I'm driving a Mercedes. And I had a date. And it was maybe about 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. And we were going to dinner at this fancy restaurant. And police car pulls me over. This is we're about to enter. And I'm surrounded by 3 or 4 other police cars, and they make me get out of the car, and I'm dressed to the nines, and they make me get out of the car and lay down in the street while they've got their guns on me. While the lady who was in the car with me, who happened to be a lawyer, was yelling at the top of her lungs. And me knowing the racism that I've had to deal with over the years of looking that way with my face down on the ground, telling her, be cool, they could kill me. I know what she was talking was right.
Right, of course.
But I'm talking what I lived. I've learned how to survive in this. And a lot of times, shut up is part of your survival. So they had me there on the ground, dressed, saying that I fit the description of somebody. When we found out what they were talking about, my car was different, I was different, everything was different. I don't forget what the crime was. But they had me down there on the ground for about a half hour. With guns drawn on me. That is one of the most demeaning, horrible things that could happen to anybody. And again, status was not an issue. Money was not an issue. You know, complexion was the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of quite a few things. I can tell you some others.
Right.
I've been chased through a grocery store and blocked in a corner because somebody black stole something on another part of the store. So anyway, the stories. Their stories.
People are crazy. People are
Yeah,
crazy.
they are. Yeah, they
But you know
are.
what I do say is because music is my one of my things, obviously. Music, medicine, and money. That when I do have my talk show.
There you go.
Um, but music is a uniter because you have fans that don't look like me or you.
Absolutely.
You have fans that look
Absolutely.
like us, and you have, you know what I mean? So music, I think, is a uniter, and that's why another reason why I think music is very, very important. There was a white boy today on the lakefront. I told you I went on the lakefront today, and he was riding his bike, and I can't stand when people do this. I think your music should be in your ears, and my music should be in my ears.
There
But
you
he
go.
had music coming out of his backpack, and it was some obvious rap black person, but he was a white boy, and he was just on his bike, just a and so that's what I'm saying. Music is a uniter. And so that is one thing that I know that because I go to a lot of shows. You see people of all, walks, colors, races, religions. You see
Right.
everyone because music does unite people. So if anything, hopefully, look, that can be your contribution to help us with this racial injustice that's going on and to help us hopefully in 2020, some serious things are going to happen to stop
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We've gotten to that place right now where something's got to happen.
It has
It's
to happen.
absolutely got to.
Yeah.
You know,
And
they
no,
can't
and
just
they
revert.
really are hoping. As a matter of fact, I'm in groups on Facebook where they're like, I wish people would just stop talking about that. Okay, well, guess what? Sit down and put your seatbelt on because it's going to be a long ride.
That's right.
Because we
That's
are not,
right.
this is not going away like it has in the past. It's just
Because
not.
this did not just pop up, so it will not just go away.
No, not
This
at
has
all.
been a perpetual thing, and it will be until some of these voices are heard. And
Right.
I'm so thankful to that. I mean, I wish often when I'm seeing what's going on, especially here in Atlanta, that I could go down there and hang with them and revolt with them as they are. I'm
Right.
not for looting and shooting and all of that
Nope,
madness,
me neither.
but on a whole nother level, I have much respect for the voices that are about right. And but you can push somebody in the corner so much and they got to react. Like I
Exactly.
saw one of the things, one of the kids where they had him locked down, the police had him down, they had a hand on his neck. And he's saying, I'm not resisting. They said, stop resisting. And he's saying, I'm not resisting. And the truth of the matter is, he's not resisting, he's reacting. You've got him in a position where his survival instinct says, I can't stay in this position and continue to stay alive. Well, that's the situation with us now as a people. We cannot stay in that position anymore and survive it. You
My
know,
sister told me somebody said, so Ahmaud Arbery no, what did she say? Yeah, he ran away. No, Rashad Brooks ran away. You shot and killed him. Ahmaud Arbery, he was handcuffed. You had him on the ground and you killed him. So he goes, so what am I supposed to do? Stand still or leave? I don't know which
okay.
one.
And no, you're talking about George Floyd, not Ahmaud. Ahmaud was
Oh,
running.
George Floyd. I'm sorry, George Floyd.
George.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what is he supposed to do?
absolutely. Absolutely.
You
I
follow
mean,
what
and,
they
and it's,
say. The man had you on the ground. What else? The man couldn't move.
you're supposed to do the impossible. You're supposed to turn white, and then it won't happen in the first place.
Right.
But since you can't do the impossible, make other things possible,
Yeah.
such as take a stand, stand up, be heard no matter what. You know what? I mean, I hope it doesn't come to it, but I do know that there's a lot of people willing to die for this right about now because they're being killed any damn way.
You're right.
So therefore, they've got to hear. They, though the powers that be have got to hear. I'm glad that this is multi-ethnic at this point. The effort that's going forth. I'll tell you something else that I'm thankful for too. I'm thankful for that other than Minneapolis, all these other events have not taken place in the inner city, but they've taken places in external areas where they demand attention. If it was just in our neighborhoods, it wouldn't mean that much. Oh, let them
Nope.
niggas destroy theirs. But now it means something that we're going into the other neighborhoods. Again, I'm against the looting and the shooting, but on a whole nother level, you can kick a dog so long after a while he's gonna turn. It's just that simple.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. You've been amazing. Wealth of great information and history on music. So I appreciate it. And everyone is going to be watching Switch when they go online. I'm going to give you the information. It'll be on everything on my Instagram. It'll be on Twitter, everything, Facebook, and my website, of course. But thank you, Greg Williams, and everyone. Please make sure you go get Switch, Motown Music, and Me by Greg Williams. And we will all
say DeBarge.
Huh?
Switch DeBarge Motown.
Switch DeBarge Motown Music and Me. And you guys, we're gonna all say prayers that the movie and plays come out, because that'll just be amazing.
Absolutely.
Have a good afternoon, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Thanks so much, sweetheart. I appreciate it.